мая 2024 года.
Окна, наблюдай!
The battle for Donetsk Oblast has entered a decisive new chapter, where slow, methodical pressure has replaced sudden breakthroughs. Our story begins in the small village of Rovnoye, a location whose significance has skyrocketed over the last few days. Russian troops of the 1435th Motor Rifle Assault Regiment, part of the 2nd Army Center, have now raised their flag over the village, signaling the complete liberation of Rovnoye. As confirmed by multiple sources, including the Russian Ministry of Defense and Izvestia field reports. This was not just the fall of a village, it was the removal of a key defensive layer connecting Pokrovsk and Myrnohrad, creating a strategic gap that exposes Ukrainian defenses in western Donetsk to unprecedented Russian pressure. The assault on Rovnoye began with Russian troops encircling the village from two directions: the Myrnohrad axis to the east and the Pokrovsk axis to the west. This maneuver immediately cut off Ukrainian defenders from escape or resupply, trapping them in a shrinking perimeter. Once surrounded, Russian assault groups advanced systematically, clearing streets and buildings one by one. Ukrainian troops tried to regroup in abandoned houses and makeshift strongpoints, but Russian forces combined fire support, artillery, and drone reconnaissance to locate and neutralize them. High-explosive drones and munitions were used repeatedly to target 1- and 2-story buildings, forcing defenders into exposed positions. Some Ukrainian soldiers attempted to escape through windows or alleys but were intercepted by Russian units guided by aerial surveillance. Gradually, exhaustion, constant bombardment, and tactical pressure forced many defenders to surrender. By the end of the operation, Russian troops had fully secured Rovnoye, raising their flag over the village. This victory directly follows the recent liberation of Pokrovsk, removing a major defensive anchor in western Donetsk. With Rovnoye now under control, Russian forces are in a stronger position to press on toward Myrnohrad, tightening encirclement and preparing for the next phase of their offensive. The operation highlights the effective integration of encirclement, precision strikes, and coordinated infantry advances that have become characteristic of Russian operations in the region. The triangle formed by Pokrovsk, Myrnohrad, and Rovnoye is crucial to understanding the operational dynamics in western Donetsk Oblast. Pokrovsk, already captured by Russian forces, served as a key logistical and command hub for Ukrainian troops, controlling supply routes, reinforcements, and coordination between frontline positions. Its fall removed a major anchor, leaving surrounding areas more exposed. Myrnohrad, located just east of Pokrovsk, was the next line of defense. It housed reserve troops, fallback positions, and vital infrastructure, making it essential for slowing Russian advances and maintaining control over the western corridor. Rovnoye, although smaller, was strategically vital as a buffer village between the two cities. Its location allowed Ukraine to protect Myrnohrad's northern and northwestern approaches while enabling troop rotations and limited resupply through secondary routes. Losing Rovnoye removes this defensive layer entirely, exposing Myrnohrad to attacks from multiple directions. This not only weakens Ukrainian defensive posture but also provides Russian forces with the terrain advantage, observation points, and operational pathways needed to tighten encirclement. The capture of Rovnoye, combined with the fall of Pokrovsk, signals that the collapse of western Donetsk's defensive network is accelerating, leaving the remaining Ukrainian positions increasingly vulnerable to Russian advances. Myrnohrad is now heavily encircled. Russian forces have seized key approaches to the city, cutting off supply routes and reinforcements, and have conducted continuous drone and artillery strikes, targeting both military and infrastructure points. In addition, they have dropped thousands of surrender leaflets, psychologically pressuring Ukrainian defenders to give up rather than face annihilation. The liberation of Rovnoye directly enables Russian forces to tighten the encirclement around Myrnohrad. With the village under control, Russian artillery and drone operators can establish forward positions closer to the city, improving strike accuracy and increasing pressure on remaining Ukrainian units. The northern and northwestern sectors of Myrnohrad are now exposed, leaving Ukrainian defenders vulnerable to multi-angle attacks. Russian formations can block retreat or reinforcement routes to the south while continuing direct assaults on the city's outskirts. In operational terms, Rovnoye provides the terrain advantage, observation points, and logistical pathways necessary for Russian troops to compress and isolate Myrnohrad, following the same tactics that led to the fall of Pokrovsk and other nearby settlements. As of 9 December 2025, Russian military leadership publicly claimed that over 30% of Myrnohrad's buildings are now under Russian control. Drone and ground footage shows widespread destruction, damaged residential areas, and infrastructure that looks scorched from constant bombardment. The combination of drone-guided artillery, glide bomb strikes, and leaflets urging surrender has already forced numerous Ukrainian troops to lay down arms. Remaining forces are trapped in a high-risk, strained environment, while Russian forces continue to encircle and apply pressure from multiple directions. For Ukraine, the loss of Rovnoye and pressure on Myrnohrad reduces defensive depth in northern Donetsk. Trapped Ukrainian forces face morale collapse and dwindling supplies, potentially leading to further surrenders, and strategic fallback options are now severely limited, complicating counteroffensive planning. For Russia, securing Rovnoye strengthens operational continuity in Donetsk Oblast and allows synchronized assaults on Myrnohrad, potentially accelerating citywide control. It also demonstrates effective integration of drones, artillery, and psychological operations, a model for future operations. The fall of Rovnoye demonstrates the effectiveness of modern combined arms warfare, where drone reconnaissance, precision-guided munitions, artillery, and small-unit infantry tactics are fully integrated. It emphasizes a shift toward systematic encirclement, multi-axis pressure, and real-time coordination, rather than reliance on large armored formations alone. The capture of Rovnoye is far more than a tactical victory. It removes a key barrier between Pokrovsk and Myrnohrad, enabling Russian forces to tighten the encirclement around Myrnohrad and accelerate the collapse of western Donetsk's defensive system. The village's fall illustrates how systematic, well-coordinated operations, combining drones, artillery, and infantry, can transform the battlefield, reshaping operational landscapes and influencing strategic outcomes. Until now, that's all for today, and thanks for watching.